Hello there, people of the internet. My hands are covered in funk because I just finished unboxing this 8890 rifle, and this one right here is covered in dirt and cosmoline. And if you want to see that video, then go ahead and go check it out. I should have it up at one point or another. This is not my usual recording setup, and it's kind of not the best place to record. It's definitely an ad hoc throw together video that I have going on here, but I'm going to open these up, and I figured I'd go ahead and record it and throw it on video. So I have a second one of those rifles right here, sight unseen. No idea what to expect with this thing, no idea what I'm about to get, but what I do know is that it is going to be one of those, just not sure about condition. Packing peanuts absolutely everywhere in here. Let me go ahead, open this up, and we'll have a look on the inside. Alright, so of course packing peanuts, cardboard sleeve, lathered and bubble wrapped. This right here is one of those RTI rifles, and this is pretty typical for how it is that they will come in. Definitely much better packaging than they used to do. And look at all this bubble wrap. You and the kids can have fun with this for years to come. There's freaking a ton of this in here. Ladies and gentlemen, good news. We are almost there. It's only taken 20 minutes to actually get to the inside. How many cuts does it take to get to the center of RTI packaging? Alright, immediately I'm noticing significantly less dirt and funk on this rifle in comparison to the other one that we opened. And this one actually has a stock that isn't completely shattered. Oh, remember how I said this one has a stock that isn't completely shattered? It would appear that I was completely incorrect on that one. So the stock on this one is utterly destroyed. That's wonderful. At least we have our stacking swivel this time. I guess that would be a stacking rod since it doesn't actually swivel. Actually, no, look, it does swivel. Look at that swiveling action right there. That's a stacking swivel as far as I'm concerned. Okay, first impressions is broke. Yeah, that's not really a essential part of the rifle right there. I could still very much fire this even with that busted up fore end of the stock right there. I would probably want to take this wobbly piece off, or at least fasten it down somewhere. As a matter of fact, it fastens into right here pretty gosh darn good. I might just take some JB Weld and fasten that right there. Wouldn't that be something? Alright, so first things first, I got an 8mm Mauser round. Ammunition for this basically doesn't exist, but this right here is a pretty gosh darn close diameter bullet to what it is that we need in these rifles. So this will tell me how much life the barrel has. Now, if I were a betting man, I would say the bore inside this thing is probably pretty decent because the stock was completely destroyed. And whenever rifles are destroyed like this, they are put into storage, and whenever they're put into storage, they're not being used anymore. So that means that the rifles aren't getting shot out. Let's find out. Aha, look at that. This bore still has plenty of life left inside of it. That is phenomenal. I got two rifles. The stocks on them are completely destroyed, but the bores on them are a-okay. As a matter of fact, that one over there, which I've already made a video on, I'd probably trust that one over this one from what I've seen so far, but we're still having a look at this one. So not a whole lot of cosmoline on this one. We got this huge crack in the stock right here, and it looks like this crack in the stock actually existed before, because this crack in the stock was actually repaired right here on the stock, and that is a very clear indication of something that previously existed, so it would have to have some sort of repairs on it. Our bolt catch system here, which stops the bolt from flying out of the gun, actually has a spring on it, which seems incredibly stiff, so hopefully that stops the bolt from actually flying out of the back of the gun. No cartouches on this thing, lots of rust here. I can't really see much of anything on this whenever it comes to markings and whatnot. I see a serial number and it says WG on it. I'm sure that's a manufacturer. We got proof marks. Well, let's go ahead, open up the bolt, see if I can. This bolt is significantly smoother than that one, and it did not come flying out of the gun. Now let's close it up, See if it actually closes up properly. Nope, there's not in battery. So this is supposed to go a little bit farther forward, but it is not. So we have something going on internally that is stopping the bolt from going fully forward. And just because of that, that tells me there's probably something inside the bolt that I have to clean out. Because if I pull that trigger and let this drop, this should go forward a little bit more. Like, it's not properly locking. We got some sort of something going on here to where it's not locking up properly. If you look right there on the bolt, that bolt handle should be going forward, and that can only be done whenever that flapper lock, which is the system that this runs on, little flapper lock system right here on the bottom of the bolt, that can only go down if there's nothing blocking the way. So I'm betting that there's something inside the chamber of this thing that this bolt's supposed to lock into, but this does seem like a functional rifle once I manage to get in there and actually clean this thing up and clean out that chamber and allow this little flapper to, you know, go down and flap closed. So our sights are there, sights are functional. We actually have ourselves a functioning leaf sight. How's it look whenever I aim? Yeah, that's about pretty typical. Our front post is quite worn out, and that is about what to be expected. I'm expecting a bayonet probably would not mount on this thing all that adequately, considering that the nose cap flops around like the dickens. It looks like this thing might have been peppered with artillery or a grenade or something, and that's likely what did the damage here, because that is some sort of explosive material, some sort of explosive ordnance all over the stock on this thing. But that's only the fore end of the stock. As a matter of fact, let me check to see if the barrel's bent or anything. Doesn't look like the barrel's bent. So it just got peppered enough to bust up the wood. That's a good sign. So how about the extractor on this thing? No extractor, but at least the firing pin seems to be whole. I can see it sitting in there, and we currently have it retracted. So the firing pin looks like it's right where it needs to be. No extractor, no ejector though, but that's fine. As a matter of fact, let me grab this rifle over here, and I want to see if there's an extractor and ejector on it. This right here was RTI's flash sale rifles. These were $99 a piece, and I'm not really expecting a whole lot here. Yep, looks like the extractor on this bad boy is missing as well. And well, now that I have this out, I may as well show it to you guys. Our ejector also appears to be missing on this one too. So if I do decide to get these up and going, I will either have to find replacements, or I will have to, well, use a ramrod to knock out those spent casings. But if we look right here, this is our flapper lock system. Whenever our sear is all the way forward, it pushes the flapper lock down and thus closes the rifle. Strong enough action for the time period that these were made. These were actually intended to be black powder systems, but yeah, smokeless powder became a thing. And this right here is not necessarily a system that you want completely set up for smokeless powder. So all of that being said, that rifle right there, it appears our firing pin is functional because it does basically this inside of that system. But besides that, we are missing a bunch of stuff on that rifle in comparison to this one. If I pull this bad boy back like I did before, I should be able to. There we go, and now I should be able to close this. Like I said on the video I made with this particular one, our little locking catch right here just is not functional. And then something is seized up inside of the bolt that is stopping the sear from being caught on this rifle. But at least this one right here is in decent shape and has a good bore. Both have broken stocks though, but this one right here is not essential. It's in a non-essential part, versus that broken stock, which has a 100-year-old repair, and it is broken around the actual grip of the stock. At least the bolt in that one is functional. I will have to get in here because this one is much smoother, and it seems like it would be functional because, I mean, whenever I have it somewhat in battery while that flapper is trying to push down, there's clearly something blocking it. Pull the trigger, and we do have a little bit of a sear that drops, but this is not fully into battery, so you would not want to fire this thing because that is not completely locked up. So my impressions for $100, yeah, I'm pretty pleased with these rifles. This one right here, I don't really much care about. It's just one of those rifles. It's an 8890. Whenever I get the B grade ones, I look for like rifles that are destroyed and torn up like this, simply because those are the ones with a really cool history. I look for like unusual things going on with the rifle. And this one right here does have a destroyed stock on the fore end, and it's clearly been peppered with shrapnel. We can see that along the stock, but this one right here has a field repair that is so steampunk looking and so cool looking and whatnot. If you want the full video on this one, then I'll probably have that one up before this one. But this one's got decoration on it. It's got like primers tapped into the thing. It's got really awesome stock repair. It's just like, that one is very, very cool. It's just really, 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 really neat. Versus this rifle right here, which only has destroyed stock going for it. Granted, this one right here does seem like it will be the optimal choice for getting one of these up and functional. Both of these appear to be missing. Nope, this one right here is not missing its end caulking piece. So that's a really, really, really big plus. This appears to be a whole rifle. All I have to do is get it up and going. I'm probably going to repair the wood on this one if I decide to go out and shoot it. But whenever I do go out and shoot it, I'm a hand loader. I'm not going to be loading these to full power. I'm basically just going to be loading them enough to be able to send lead downrange. And by the looks of our bore, we should be able to send lead downrange pretty accurately. I'm quite pleased about that. So all in all, for $99 a rifle, yeah, solid stamp of approval for me, even if it just comes for representation purposes. This one I've got high hopes for. I'm basically positive I can get this one going. That one, because of the break on the wrist of the stock, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that one. Maybe I'll like take one of those long screws and I'll tack up into the stock and try to repair it a little bit better, because that does wobble around some, and that is a 100-year-old repair. And it's not like, you know, me tacking another nail into it is going to mess with the aesthetics of the rifle. But I definitely would not trust full power loads out of these with how busted up they are. Okay, all this being said, thanks for watching, folks. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching me break out these RTI rifles. These are about typical of what you would expect from RTI, but it's not RTI's fault. A lot of people blame RTI for the condition of the rifles, but these are literally like battle-hardened rifles that have seen over a century of conflicts and whatnot. So yeah, they have been ran and ran hard. They're tools for a particular job, and that particular job was done, and that particular job was pretty hard on the tools. So all this being said, like I've already said, thanks for watching, folks. Both of these have their sling swivels. That's really, really good. That'll be very convenient for whenever I do inevitably take these out. Like, subscribe, share. The description below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. You guys go off, have yourself a fantastic day. Which of these two is your preference? This one right here is cool, and it definitely has the promise to being a shooting rifle. And that one right there definitely has some internal issues I'll have to check out. Maybe I'll swap out the bolt from this one to that one, and then I'll tack that one. Because the stock on this one, it's this huge crack in the stock right here that leaves me concerned with this 100-year-old repair that clearly is not holding up. But I'll throw some wood glue in that. I'll see what I can fix there. Of course, I'm talking like I'm going to be shooting full-powered rifle cartridges from this, and I'm simply not.
Been a little while since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garrett. It's a shame that bolt action shotguns aren't more mainstream.